Hi guys, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm back. Long time no see. It's been a while. Uh, let's uh, let's start with a couple of things. Um, Clearly, background's a little bit different. I'm downstairs in my house now. No, I'm not with anybody different. I'm still with Brian. Everything's still fine. Kids are doing great. Animals are doing great. Actually, we have a couple new additions. We've got some bunny rabbits. We've got another cat, two new cats, actually. I adopted one from my college, and I also have a kitten who's now 6 months old. So, all sorts of new, different things going on with me. Clearly, I look different. You're going to see me act a whole lot different. I've changed a lot of things in my life, and this was way before anything happened with everything that's currently going on. I have switched drinking to, speaking of one of the kids,
I'm watching your live stream upstairs.
Samantha and her new bunny.
No!
Groot. All right. Say hi.
Hi,
Groot.
It's to me.
All right. Go see if you can get him litter trained. So, one of the new bunnies, Brie actually has another new bunny, and
Your door looks stupid.
obviously I took a break for school purposes. But with everything that's been going on, I've been following it very closely because not only could it affect me directly, I have an autoimmune disease, so if I end up contracting this crazy thing, I could become seriously ill, hospitalized even. I was informed by my doctor just earlier today. So I need to make sure that I'm taking precautions in my life. And I'm sure there's many, many of you out there who are in the same kind of a situation, or you have loved ones that, are in the same kind of a situation. So I thought it was important to at least start talking about it, start having the conversations about it, start asking the questions that nobody seems to be asking. If we make a big enough stink, maybe we'll get some answers and we will be able to, figure things out, figure out what is going on with this whole thing, because there's just so much misinformation lately that it's just crazy. It's out of control. John D., I am doing well in school. In fact, before I started spring break, it was last Friday, so on the 6th, is when my official last midterm was. I was passing all but one of my classes, and that's because I've had a lot of other additional stressors that I'm not going to, bore everybody with, personal problems, family problems, things like that. So I have been struggling a little bit this semester, but I always end up making a comeback towards the end. I struggled a little bit at the beginning of last semester. So elderberry. No, I actually don't. I just started changing to a healthier diet. I started eating more fruits and vegetables. I started drinking just tea. So this doesn't even have any caffeine in it. I'm to the point now in my life where I can't have caffeine past like 4 o'clock at night, or I don't sleep at all. So this is honey chamomile tea. And then I added a little additional natural honey from the local area to kind of build up my immune system a little bit. So that's what I drink. I hardly drink alcohol at all anymore. I've always been a smoker. I quit, switched to vapes, and I'm cutting way back on that as well, because not only do I have, I have all sorts of problems. So I'm just working on taking care of myself from the inside out, and clearly my outside appearance looks a little different too. I stopped wearing makeup. I stopped doing all sorts of things. I'm just trying to focus on what's most important in my life and having the time and the energy to be able to do those important things as I continue to get older. So, tubular. So I saw that Ed was having some issues. I know he told me last night when I spoke to him that um, he was going to be on until about 9:20ish, 9:30ish. And then I was watching his live stream before he started doing mine, and I saw that it ended. I don't know if he had like technical difficulties, but I will let you guys know here where we live, which everybody, who has been following us for a while knows that we live about 7 miles apart from each other. The wind has been ridiculous here. And when I say ridiculous, I mean like 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It's been blowing all day long. So, it's a good possibility that he has some serious technical difficulties, especially where he lives, being in the middle of nowhere. I am kind of fortunate here because I live in the middle of town. So, I'm able to kind of have a more reliable system as far as the internet goes, if that's even a thing, which I don't think it really is anymore because even my system here in town goes in and out all day long. It's ridiculous. So yes, I am back. Like I was saying, I've been struggling in school, but because I have a family that I have to take care of, I have animals I have to take care of, so I can't just focus solely on school like most people can do when they go to college, which is when they're, 18. So I end up just kind of falling behind a little bit because yes, college is important, but things going on in my family are more important. um, I'm always able to go get a job if I absolutely need to, even if it's part-time. So college will always be there for me. So I mean, I can always stop and go back if I need to. So it's never been like, a major concern. If something, happens and I need to take a step back and take care of my family or take care of myself. Um, that's always my top priority as far as that is concerned. So that's kind of a little update on everything that's been going on. And yeah, I've been super duper busy, but sometimes you really need to address issues. And I missed my YouTube family, and I missed chatting with you guys and doing live streams and videos and things like that. So I wanted to come back. I want to come back and do either, a video and a live stream, one of each every week, or I want to do, just a live stream or just a video. I want to do something. And it takes a lot of time and energy, as anybody who, is following any YouTuber and is a YouTuber themselves. um, it does take a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy and preparation and research, especially when you're doing things like what Ed and I are doing. So it's stressful. It's stressful with the family, it's stressful with a house full of animals, it's stressful with college. But I'm going to make it work. I will make sure that I make it work so that I can continue to grow my channel and share information and things like that with as many people as I possibly can, because that's what this platform's all about. That's what this platform, is supposed to be about, regardless of all the crap that goes on here. I think it's important that we have a place where we can talk and have the conversations that we're not able to have with the mainstream media that just keeps being shoved in our face. So, with that being said, obviously, we're going to talk about everything that's been going on with the CV. And everybody knows what CV means by this point in time. Some YouTubers have been calling it Karachi or whatever, something funny like that, just so they don't get dung in it. That's, it's whatever. I'm just going to consider it CV for the time being. Mother Earth, as a woman, how would you protect yourself? Well, it's important to know how to protect yourself, not only with weapons, so make sure you know how to shoot a gun, make sure you know how to shoot a bow. Martial arts is great. I took martial arts as a kid, kickboxing, learning how to box in general, just any little thing that you can do. And smart, be smart, have common sense, because a lot of times if you're being attacked by somebody, they're scared, and they're just acting out of that fear, and they're not really thinking about exactly what it is that they're doing. So it's important that you make sure that you're one step ahead of them, essentially, and have a plan. Know, if for some reason you have to shelter in place because of everything that's
I
going
need
on.
pencils for my homework.
You need pencils for
And
your
pens. I don't have any
Well,
regular
I have
pencils to do
pens
my
right
homework.
there, and here's some pencils. Sorry about that, guys. So, just be smart and have a plan, and always know, wherever you're sheltering, whatever is going on, whatever the situation is, that you know where you're going to go and what you're going to do if somebody comes in a window, if somebody comes in a door, if somebody does this, does that. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? What do you have there to be able to defend yourself? I think those are the most important things. That's at least what I would do, especially being only 4'11" and weighing 80 pounds. If somebody's not around to protect me, I have to figure out a way that I can protect myself. So, JJ, no, I'm not homeschooling. My children, my two girls, they go to a very tiny school. Samantha,
I am the first one that went to the tiny school.
They go to a very tiny school in the next town over. They have not been in school. Well, my one hasn't been in school all week. And then this one, she only went like twice this week. And I told her, yes, she did.
No, I went. Oh
You didn't
yeah,
go
I only
Monday.
I only went
Yeah.
Tuesday and Wednesday. Dirt.
So, she only went a couple of days, and then I told her these past couple of days you're not going. So it's going to be a matter of time. I feel it coming. They will be shutting the public school system down, from what I'm gathering, just by watching everything. And we're probably going to follow suit with all of the other states that have been doing the same thing. So what I'm saying is I can't guarantee it, but based on what has really... I am in the middle of my live stream. You have to do that right now.
And I want a mint, and I got a mint. I'm happy.
Okay, good. I'm glad. So she didn't go, and if they're going to continue to have school, that's going to be a decision I'm going to have to make. I don't think that I want them going. I really don't, especially with now. Yesterday we were in the low 300s as far as cases go, and yes, I know it's all down towards New York City and New Rochelle, and we're in the western part of the state. However,
we have a couple cases right here in Livingston County.
No, we don't.
One.
No, we don't.
Ooh.
Wherever you're getting your information is inaccurate.
Facebook.
Okay, yeah, don't get your information off of Facebook. Oh boy.
So the major leading question is, where the hell are you gonna send me for school?
Stop swearing on my channel.
Where are you gonna send me for school?
You're not going to school. Can I talk now? To them and not you. Okay. So I don't want to send them if they're not going to at least be postponing it until they figure out what's going on. Even though they're in a small school and there's not hundreds and hundreds upon hundreds of students like in a normal public school system, they still are in tight quarters as far as classrooms go. With Samantha, for instance, she only has, at any point in time, a maximum of probably 10 to 15 students. But at the same time, that's still 10 to 15 potential people that could have it. aren't showing symptoms. And then they're going to, you know, they're all going to bring it home, and then we're all going to have it. And then whoever we've been in contact will have it, and so on and so forth. And that's how it's spreading so quickly. And what's the most frustrating thing is, let's think about this. They're not testing to the capacity that they need to be testing. They're not requiring that people are being tested. Not that I'm going to say, go ahead and, go ahead and test me, because I don't want them testing me. I don't want them having my information. But they need to do more, and they're not doing it appropriately. They're not testing enough people. So there's people out there that, have it, don't even know that they have it. They're going out in public, they're spreading it through grocery stores or school or whatever. And then, these people are going to start showing symptoms, and then the cases are going to just continue to skyrocket. So, yeah, I agree with you, Patriot. They're not testing everyone on purpose, just like, in my opinion, they probably, for everything that they have out there, I don't know how I want to put this so that I don't have this video taken down or anything like that. If they know that there's something that can be an infectious disease, whether it gets out intentionally or whether it gets out accidentally, they've already developed some sort of a way for it to be cured. Especially something like this, a virus. They have a flu vaccine, things like that. So, and again, this is just my opinion. So if they, create it in a lab for, purposes, whatever purposes, if it's something that they know how it works and they know what's going on with it, they have a way to stop it, for the simple fact that if it gets out into the wrong hands on somebody they don't want it to get out to, and an important person, they don't want that person to pass away or whatever, they have to have a way to reverse the effects of it, if you catch my drift. That's my opinion. Again, you guys can all have your own opinion, but that's just how I feel pretty much all of that kind of stuff works. And that kind of brings me to this. So I was doing a little bit of research last night, and we all know what this is called now. I'm reading, sorry. So do you think the way the presser was handled this afternoon, with no social distancing and so much touching, indicates those present may be vaccinated? I'm assuming is what you were trying to say. That's that's a good question. Now you got my head, going here. Well, let's look at it this way. Who was just diagnosed last night in the north as having it, whose spouse was just in direct contact with POTUS? Well, chances are, and they've stated this clearly, you live with your spouse, symptoms aren't showing up to 14 to 21 days, in some cases, sometimes even longer. So if you're not showing symptoms, people don't think that you're sick, but you're still, or in the case of a lot of things, you could be a carrier and not even know it. You could never have symptoms, never get sick, but you're infecting everybody else. So there's that entire concept that we need to think about. And I haven't heard anything about any of that either. But it's the same thing with everything else. People can be carriers of certain things and never ever get sick from it, but they can infect all sorts of other people that they come in contact with because everybody's genetics are different and everybody's immune systems are different. So what one person gets infected, the next person doesn't. And it takes forever to figure out why that happens. And they still don't know with a lot of different things. So we have that entire aspect to look at. So these people who didn't know they had it are meeting with other people and they're probably infected, but they're not showing signs or symptoms, or they're being tested and they're tested negative for it, even though they most likely have it. But because it's taking so long for it to show up, you know, we're going to see the numbers skyrocket, is I guess where I'm going with the entire thing. We're going to see the numbers skyrocket because of what I just said. These people are not tested. Even if they are tested, it's probably not showing up in their system. They're not showing any signs or symptoms of it. So they're doing their normal daily lives. I'm not going to say that I have it because I don't know. Do any of you know for sure that you absolutely don't have it? You know what I mean? Like, you just don't know. You could feel fine right now, and in 2 days you could be super sick and you've been carrying it for 14 days, 21 days, 30 days. You just don't know. It's just, the whole thing is just, I I sit here and I'm like getting all of this information, I'm reading all of this stuff, and I'm researching all of this stuff, and I'm going, what is real? What is not real? What do we do with the information that we're gathering? We need to take all the little bits and pieces of it. We need to put it all together and we need to come up with a bigger picture. On top of doing that, as a society, not only as Americans, but as the entire world. Jeep, 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 Jeep. I like that. That's funny. Thank you very much, and thank you for the $2 donation. I appreciate it very, very much. Um, Everything that I get on my channel is actually going towards my son for him to be doing his channel. I have everything in the entire world I could ever need. I need nothing. I need the love and health of my family and of my animals, and I'm totally set. I want to, take everything that I can possibly get from anywhere and give it to all to my children, because that's just, my kids are my life. My kids and my animals, they are my life. So there's that whole aspect. So we need to start asking questions. We really need to start asking questions. Supposedly this came from, we know where. China. I'm going to call it China because that actually sounds fun to say, is China. I mean, there's just some words that are fun to say. So my first question last night while I was doing some research was, how are they testing for it? Well, we now know how they're testing for it, or I don't know if they're saying out loud how they're testing for it, but it's essentially a nose swab, which is a whole nother issue all on its own, because what are you getting when you do a nose swab? You're getting cells, you're getting DNA. So not only do they have everything on you from the digital world, but now they're going to have your DNA, and they can track you to everything. So that was kind of where my mind went with it. Everybody else, their mind could go other places with it, but that's where my mind went. Was straight to, they're going to do something with the way that they're doing this test, especially now they have mobile testing. What is that? What is mobile testing? So first, you're not able to test everybody. You don't have enough tests. You have a shortage of labs in the nation that can come up with the test. I mean, a few different places are now starting to say that they're going to start developing their own tests, or they have. But now you have the capacity to be able to do mobile testing. There's so much with this. I don't even know where to go with all of it. I'm just like, because it's bombarding everybody's lives. No matter where you go, that's all everybody's talking about, thinking about, hearing about, worrying about, and you don't want to panic. Absolutely not. You don't want to panic. But at the same time, as many of you probably are in the same position as I am, you have kids, you have families, you have people that you want to protect with every ability that you have to protect them. And when you can't protect them from something like this because there's absolutely no way to protect them, it's frustrating. And then you're at the point where you're like, okay, you have all of this, coming, and it's closing in on wherever you live. If you're not in a large city and you're in a rural community like where I'm at, there hasn't been any confirmed cases as far as I know in our county specifically, but the county above us, last I heard last night, was there was one positive case and 50 in quarantine. Now, that's probably higher today. I don't know. I didn't look into it, but we're pretty much being surrounded where we live. It's in all of the counties on this side. It's down on this side of the state. It's on the PA border down here. It's up above us. So like we're kind of in this little bubble area where there hasn't been anything, excuse me, confirmed as of yet. But it's going to change, I'm sure. So I'm hoping that they close down schools. I don't want to send my children to school. I don't want them being around kids whose parents aren't super proactive as far as hygiene and things like that go. I'm a super clean person. I have OCD, so I'm constantly cleaning things, and my house is pretty clean. I'm not going to say it's spotless because I have a house full of kids and animals, but it's clean. I can't say the same for the students that my kids go to school with. So if they're not practicing good hygiene and they're not doing the things that they need to do as parents, making sure that their children are doing the appropriate things, then they're just causing even more of an issue. And then they're going to have the virus spreading through the schools. And then they're going to be like, oh, we probably should have closed sooner, which here's what I don't understand. So I was looking it up and I see you guys are saying Alabama closing schools for 2.5 weeks. I know Michigan's schools are closed. I think I saw some Ohio schools closed. There's a lot of states, right? There's a lot of states in the country where they've closed schools, public school systems, right? So this is why I love New York. That was sarcasm in case anybody couldn't tell. I'm going to try to say this as nicely as I possibly can. Our governor, no. First of all, he quarantined an entire area in New York City, which everybody knows about, but he's fighting to close the school districts in the state. As far as I know, we're the only ones currently, and let me know if I'm wrong because I haven't done a whole lot of research on this. But aren't we the only state that has a entire area in its state quarantine? So since we have this whole section in our state quarantine, and all of these cases around the quarantine area, so if you pull up the map, it will show you current locations throughout the United States, how many cases, and then it has like little red dots or whatever where there's cases and stuff. All those cases are all around where the quarantine is. So, but you don't want to close the public school system. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But all the other places in the country, schools are shutting down. They don't have quarantines. They're part of their city isn't quarantined off with boots on the ground and guns and making sure people are staying in their houses or not doing certain things and staying 10 feet away from other people. Like that's not a thing that's happening. But it is New York, and they're pushing back against. He's like, oh, it's going to be our last resort if we close the public school system. Why? Because you're worried about not getting your funding? I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Like, let's not care about the safety and security of the children. Let's just worry about our funding, our state funding. So there's that. So I was saying earlier, this virus actually came from another virus that they just added a COV-2 to the end of it. I was doing a lot of research on it, and I kept finding the same thing over and over again. So, I found that sometimes you'll do some research online and you'll look something up and it will lead only in one place, and then it will just be that. And then there's other times while you're researching things, it'll just keep leading back to the same thing over and over and over. No matter how you search it, no matter what search engine you put it in, it'll just keep leading back to the same thing. So I was researching last night, where the heck did this virus come from? Because I don't know how many of you guys have read the back of a Lysol can. Lysol that's been around since what, the 50s, the 60s? Have you read how many things Lysol kills and fights against? It's enormous. And one of the things is the human coronavirus. So, yeah, I know. I just said it out loud and I'm sure they'll ding me, but yeah, too late. So, it actually comes from SARS. Sound familiar? This SARS came the early 2000s and then just disappeared. And now it's back suddenly. The MERS has been around. And camels, supposedly. I don't know. Should hospitals be overwhelmed and schools closed? What do you think about using schools to house the sick? Food prep, janitorial staff, food delivery systems already in place. I've heard that a lot of hospitals are starting to get overwhelmed. And I think more so than anything, it's people in panic mode. Like what we're seeing all over the country with this shortage of toilet paper. I just went to my local grocery store here in town and they were totally wiped out of toilet paper. The store was so packed you could barely get around anywhere. There were no grocery carts because everybody was panic buying. Instead of, going every single week when they normally do their grocery shopping and buying 1, 2, 3 things. I'm live. What's up?
That grace big one.
Not a clue. Sorry about that, guys. I will always have kids and everything all over the place, so it's just a part of my life. So it was just chaos. It was absolute chaos. And I asked her, um, you know, has it been like this all day? Has it been like this for a couple of days? Because I haven't been out grocery shopping because I have plenty of food in my house and I have a whole huge basement full of food. Like, even when I wasn't on YouTube, I was still prepping. Like, it's not something that I stopped doing just because I wasn't doing YouTube. Like, every time I went to the grocery store, I'd buy a couple of things and put them down in my preps. Like, it's just a good habit to get yourself into, and I just continued to do it. So she said it's been crazy since the time that they open until the time that they close every day for like the past 3 days. And they can't keep stuff on the shelves. So it's coming. It's coming here. It's coming everywhere. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's coming. Be prepared. Um, the chaos is it's going to get crazy, even crazier than it already is, unfortunately. I mean, at this point, my head's just been spinning so much from it that I don't even know. So, as far as the hospitals are concerned, absolutely, they're going to be overwhelmed just for the simple fact of they might not have 500 cases of somebody with this CV, but they're going to have people coming in who think that they have it and need to be tested, and then that's not only using up the resources for everybody else that actually does need it. It's taking away medical staff. It's taking away time. It's taking away energy. It's taking away everything from the people who actually do need it. And again, that's just all having to do with the chaos. And the chaos has been, how do I want to put this? Fueled by the media, which we all already know that because they feed off of this. Right, exactly. Those who are already prepped are, yeah, smart. Smart for just having extra food for whatever. Because it's always good to have extra food because you need to have food and water to survive. So, excuse me. So, I just found this out today too, and I thought this was really interesting. And I don't know how many of you guys have heard this, or I'm just going to laugh because it's funny. There are people who are in mandatory quarantine. And when I say mandatory quarantine, I mean they tell you, you have it, you need to go home, you need to stay there, and you need to not come out, uh, you know, for 14 days, or they send them to a hotel or someplace where they are quarantined for the 14 days. Which the whole 14-day thing doesn't even make any sense either, because in some of the cases that they see, once they have people come out of the quarantine, they're still spreading it, because sometimes it could be 21 days, sometimes it could be 30. Again, it's all on the individual and you just don't know. So these people, there's been a couple of them, are leaving mandatory quarantine after testing positive for this CV. And there's one I heard, excuse me, who was supposedly homeless in Washington State. However, they tested him. I'm not sure the exact scenario. They tested him. He was positive. They put him in a hotel for his quarantine. He left like 2 days later, got on a bus. They have no idea where he is. So, and I guarantee you that that is not the only person. There's probably lots and lots and lots of them, because how, other than, doing an entire area like they did here in New York and having people in the streets with guns, telling you get back in your house, how else are you going to stop somebody from being in quarantine other than being in a hospital? So I mean, it's just crazy. So I'm calling it right now. You're gonna see the stuff skyrocket. You're gonna see the numbers continue. And everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, we have it under control. We have lockdown in the States and no travel." I was asked at my doctor's office yesterday if I've traveled outside of New York State recently. And I'm like, so is that what's coming next? Is you're going to shut down all the borders to the state and not let anybody move from state to state? You're going to shut everybody in everywhere? I feel like that's exactly what's coming, is everything's going to be shut down to the point where you can't do anything at all, which is freedom of movement. And the worst part about it is the people who are not awoke, not paying attention, not doing research, not getting off of social media and actually doing research and looking at the information that's being put out by other individuals and not just the mainstream media. These are the individuals who are going to let them do whatever they want to do. These are the individuals that are going to go to the camps. These are the individuals who are going to be like, I'm demanding that there be some type of a solution to this problem. Because isn't that how it always goes? Problem first, then a reaction, then a solution. And with everything that we've seen across, history, it's always been, we created a problem for you. We got the reaction that we wanted. Here's your solution. Look, isn't it pretty? We're going to dangle it in front of you. How many of you want it, right? You do, because you're in panic mode. So I feel like that's what's going to happen, especially in this situation, because when have we ever seen things shut down the way that they are being shut down? Never. Never in my life have I seen anything like that. It's unprecedented what is happening in the world, in this country, in our state. It's 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 crazy. Um, it's just unprecedented, and it's unlike anything that anybody has ever seen, and it's just complete chaos. And they're going to demand that there be a solution for it, because that's what they want. They want them to demand, and then we get into that entire aspect of what's going to be in their solution that the sheeple are going to take willingly, demand it willingly, because they can't be like, it's mandatory, you have to take this because we said so. No, they have to make all of us sit back and go, well, it obviously won't be us, but you know what I mean when I say all of us say, we need a solution to this, give us a solution. So what's going to be in it? What's going to be in the solution? What's the end game? There's an end game to this. There's always an end game to everything. So what's the end game? And that's what we need to figure out, especially in this community. We're the ones that are paying attention. We're the ones that are looking at all of the different puzzle pieces and trying to fit them all together, and trying to see what the heck is going on. And somebody just said, the end game. Okay, there's 500,000 things they could do with this. Just like this is not just one piece of it. Just because there is this CV, there's so many things that they're doing with this. There's so many agendas they have in place with this going on. And we all know what those agendas are. And there's even some that we don't know that they're doing. As in, look, CV, 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 but we're doing this over here. Is anybody paying attention to what they're doing over here? No. everybody CV, 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 because that's what they want. They want you focusing on that and not focusing on what else is going on. So we need to be looking in other places and looking at other things that are going on, because that's really what's going on. So we need to be looking at that, because I think that that's important. This is kind of eyes wide shut. You're all worried about this, and we're doing this over here. That and the end game. Yeah, we all know about the population. We all know about, you know, quarantine. We all know about the camps. We all know about all of those different aspects to it. But there could be so many more, because we're not dealing with normal thinking clearly individuals who are doing all of this. We're dealing with evil, manipulative, whatever you want to call them. That's what we're dealing with. So if we're not looking at that and thinking about that and keeping that in the back of our minds, then we're not really looking at the entire picture. We're just looking at one part of it. And with everything that they've done and everything that they will continue to do until they get exactly what they want, it's always going to be the same thing. Several different things are why they're doing it, and several different things is what's going to happen, what's going to come out of it. Are they going to strip more freedoms from us? Yeah, they already have. Look at it. When you're thrown into a quarantine and there's boots on the street on American soil, that's stripping away freedoms. They're going to put something in it. There's going to be something in it, something that's not good. That's my feeling. That's how I feel. I have a really bad feeling, more so for what's coming as a solution to this problem that was created than the actual problem itself, which isn't that always the case? Isn't that what history has shown us with most of it? The solutions to these problems have always been super, super worse than the problem itself. I think, Terrence, that's part of it. And I think what everybody else has been saying is also part of it. Because you guys have to think, they are masters at their craft. Masters. They have been in control. They have been doing it forever. Centuries. Centuries. Long before America was even America. These things have been going on. I mean, it's written in stone, essentially. So they're masters at what they do. They have watched and gathered and sat back and looked at everything and went, I think this is a good way to do 500 things and get 500 results out of it, which is exactly what we want. So that's another one. Absolutely. Because who is it targeting a lot? Who are you hearing a lot about? Males, right? Males. It's always been, sterilization and population reduce. There's so many parts to it. So many parts. And if it's a thing and it's actually occurring and people are actually getting sick, which I don't know anybody that's gotten sick personally. I don't know anybody that has shown symptoms of it personally. So, I mean, if you guys do, I would love to read a comment about somebody somebody who actually knows somebody who has it, or had it. Is it a giant thing over nothing? Is it not even, I don't know what this cerveza bug is. What is that? Oh, wow. Okay. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that I'm not even the only one who's going, is it real? Is it not real? I haven't seen anybody that's actually had it. We're getting all these numbers. Do we know what's really going on? I don't know. But I can imagine it probably is. I can imagine it's probably out there. Those who have been infected anywhere, even places like South Korea. Right. They're not reporting a lot of the stats. They're not reporting a lot of the deaths. They're not reporting a lot of all of it. I actually think the numbers are a whole lot larger than what they're saying. I think they just want to say, here it is. Let's see how much panic we can cause. We'll go from there. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. So in New York, with everything that's going on, I got another, and you can ask Ed. I don't know if Ed's in here, but you can ask him. He was on the phone with me last night, and we were speaking, and I said, you watch. It's either going to be tomorrow, it's going to be Saturday, maybe it'll even be Monday, but my college will contact us, and they will send out a survey. Are you ill? Have you been in contact with somebody you think is ill? Where have you been on spring break? Because they're not going to just shut down the school. They're not going to do that because they're stubborn and it's what it is. So they're not going to shut it down. They're going to ask the questions before they have their big meeting. They have to follow the guidelines of the governor and stick with, okay, you are not supposed to have large gatherings. You're not supposed to have classes. You need to have them go to online if at all possible. If you're going to have lab classes, which is mostly what I'm in, you need to have it broken down and be smaller, these kind of things. However, as the days are progressing on, even though our spring break has been extended by an entire another week because we were supposed to go back this coming Monday, and now we can't go back until the 23rd if we even go back then. But what they're going to do is they're going to meet on Monday, the department heads, and they're going to take all these surveys from the kids that they just sent it out to tonight because they sent it out, and they're going to meet back and be like, these kids are in New York City. They've been around people that are sick. They can't come back to the college. These other kids have been here, here, and here, and here. And there's all of these cases. So then they're going to shut the school down and be like, no, you can't come back to classes. And here's the frustrating part. We paid to go to school. I paid out of my pocket for almost half of this semester. Half of it, was covered under financial aid, but the other half I paid out of my pocket. Well, I had to take out a loan for. So we're paying for an education. And if we're not able to take the classes because of this, what are they going to do? What's the rest of our semester going to look like? Are we all going to have to repeat because we only went halfway through? Are they going to just count our grades up, through the middle of it, and count that as our full grade? How are they going to work that? And it'll be interesting to see how that goes, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with my kids' schools and things like that. But as of right now, being where we are, things are a little bit calmed down in our area, other than the crazy shopping experience I had earlier today. And I literally just went in there to pick up some more chicken because I wanted to make chicken for dinner. So If I have the ability to go to the grocery store and make something fresh with fresh food instead of having to dig into my preps, I'm going to continue to do that. I'm not going there to buy 50,000 rolls of toilet paper. I just want to go get some chicken. And it took me an hour and a half to go to the store and get chicken and some asparagus to make a nice dinner for my family tonight. So, while I was there, I was like, okay, I'm not doing this again the rest of the weekend. I'm going to take everything that I could possibly need for like the next 10 days and put it in my cart and buy it now, fresh stuff, and I will just freeze it. And that's what we're going to eat because I'm like, I'm not coming back to the store. I'm not going to have it. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight. I know I was kind of all over the place, but there's just a lot going on, and um, I wanted to discuss a whole lot of different things. And obviously, there's so much more that I could talk about. We could have conversations for hours, I'm sure. But I have not showered yet today, and I would really love to do that. So I am going to head out. I know I used to do like a whole outro kind of thingy where I'm like, had a catchphrase and all of that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm just kind of way too not like I don't really care anymore. I mean, I still live by the same motto. Everything happens for a reason. Just get through the day, try to stay calm, stay prepped up, um, do the best that you can for your immediate family. Keep them as safe as you possibly can, and stay aware of the things that are going on, the situations that are going on around you. Just stay aware, stay open, stay vigilant with it. That is the biggest thing. Because as soon as you start buying into the hype of different things and panicking, that's when you just join everybody else. So don't do that. Just just be chill. Just just chill. Drink some tea and just be chill. Makes for a way better life, I promise you. So it was great seeing you guys. It was great talking to you guys. I missed all you guys so much. Like I said, I will be back next week. Either I will do a live stream or I will do a video. So I'm gonna put it in my little community thing there. So keep an eye out for that. And I will catch you guys next time. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.